What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and those Detroit Pistons, they lock in 41 wins. You know the significance of that? That means they can finish no lower than 500. And with 9 games left, something's telling me that the 46 is still in play, but they're definitely going to finish above 500. They're going to definitely finish, I'm calling it, in at least the 6th seed. I see you, Orlando Magic. Paulo Banchero, 4 straight 30-plus point games, and the Atlanta Hawks have continued to keep pace as well. And they've both gained a game over the last 6 or 7, but the Pistons handle your business game like they did last night. They keep themselves in with a firm grip on that 6th seed.
They're 5.5 clear of Atlanta and 6 clear of the Magic. It would take something catastrophic, and I don't think it's going to happen.
That's what I said. We're calling it 6th seed Pistons with an opportunity to move up. So let's get this drum roll going. Let's get the legend in here because it is time for the Woodward Pistons segment. So let's rock. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. What up, though, brother? We've waited for times like this. It's been a while now, Rod Beard. A while that we've done this platform. And I'm grateful to you, man. I am so grateful to you for standing in the trenches because early on it wasn't just – some struggling Pistons basketball we had to trudge through, but you took a chance on me at the time when I was fresh to a lot of this type of stuff. So now we get to kind of see what the fruits of the labor are producing, and it's to be able to cover on this platform, amongst others, a good Detroit Pistons team. And if I'm not mistaken, man, to me, one of your top 5, 6, 7 teams in all the NBA from an efficiency standpoint since January 1. Take it over, Rod's thought.
All right, I'll do 2 things. One, I will sort of honor you because you had the idea and the foresight that this would be this, and it sounds like they won a championship. This is just getting to 500. Right. But when this team was bad, you were like, let's do more. Let's provide more content and more coverage. So this is your vision. This is your bringing me into the fold, and I said, hey, I'll help out. I do whatever I can, but you've really carried the weight on this, and congratulations to you, whether they win the championship or not. Now I'm going to pivot. If they win the championship, here's a vision. If they win the championship and they got the big ski goggles on and the confetti is and the champagne is all over the place, they're going to say, Cade is going to pull down his goggles and say, we couldn't have done this without KG.
You damn right. You damn right.
KG had us at 42.
Hey, I believed in them when nobody else did, or at least I gave them the motivation to go harder. You can say that.
And so you got Jaylen Duren holding the trophy, and like anything is possible because of KG.
Yeah.
That's going to be my enduring takeaway from this season, that KG has spurred them to
see, you can't even keep up with them.
Not quite 51 wins with 9 games left. They can't get to 51. This X was always through 51 wins. It wasn't going to happen.
You jinxed me, man.
You jinxed yourself.
Yeah.
You jinxed yourself.
You jinxed yourself.
The original 42 wins is going to happen.
Yes.
So this is why I wanted you to stay with your original, because it would be closer. It'd be like The Price is Right. You might go over. You're not going to win both showcases, but you'll be close. So
hey, as long as I get on the stage, right, I'm cool. I just want to spin the big wheel one time.
Hey.
So from one KG to another, anything is possible.
Damn right.
Damn right.
From one KG to another. Hey, let me hear it. You got to cut
anything
the promo.
is possible.
Let's go. JV Spoon, what up, though, voice of reason? I see you over there.
I just want to say how far we have come from KG's 51 wins and now to 42. Is like, hey, you know what? Anything is possible. Things happen. KG, I got to throw my hat off to you because, hey, you pushed the Pistons to go harder as ever to get to this point. So, hey. Once they get in, they have you to thank for it. That's all I'm saying.
Kool-Aid to tell you, I said 35 early in this process. I believed in this team when a lot of people just thought, oh, if we could get to 24, that'd be great. That's a great season. I'm like, no, just because you had 14 the year before, and I think what they are showing this year is that they weren't a 14-win team last year. They were just poorly managed. And you needed to see some of your young players develop, which they are doing now. But overall, that wasn't a 14-win team last year. And I think we can all take that away, that this is a much better product that we're seeing. And it's because the people up top are finally in place and they're executing the right way.
I think Rob was about to make another sticky note.
When you look at those, when you think about those double digits, the 14, the 17, the whatever, those are kind of tanking sort of things. So if we're going to be bad, let's try to get a better pick with it too.
Right.
Here's how far they come. The pick is going to convey. They're probably not going to have a first-round pick unless there's some kind of trade. But we're talking about real games that matter without Cade, that they're winning against bad teams, which is what they're supposed to do. This is a real team. This is like Pinocchio. I'm a real live NBA team of a real live NBA team that is in the playoffs and going to be playing past April 13th. This is where we are now.
This is where we are with these Detroit Pistons. And Rod, I have another question for you, and then I'm going to kick it to Flannel for a question as well. Just how serious is this team? How real is this team? Because you see NBA media, you see just the national landscape scrambling now. You're starting to hear the conversations of no longer. Remember when a couple months ago we were like, we think Cade might be second team All-NBA. And then I know Flannel started to introduce the idea, and we introduced our MVPs, and we had Cade at 3. And I understand how this thing is going to go, but you see the NBA world now reacting to Cade Cunningham, his star prowess, and these Detroit Pistons and everybody else that they have here. And it's almost as if every other night people are like, oh, wow, Ron Holland. Oh, sweet. The Pistons got one. Oh, wow, Marcus Sasser. Talking about even those guys and seeing what they're getting. I know the NBA account posted Ron Holland's 26-point night the other night. But just how real are these Detroit Pistons? Because whether they move up in the standings or not, they've looked very, very formidable going into these playoffs, where you just saw the Bucks. And we talked about this all year, how the Pistons were going to have an opportunity to not just take advantage of climbing up the standings based on who they are, because we know they're going to set their own standard, but also the dysfunction around them, whether it's injuries or whether it's things going on within the team. And now the Bucks, they get a huge blow at Dame Lillard now, sidelined indefinitely, who he says he's going to try and make a return this season. But the Detroit Pistons, real player, as we are looking just ahead at these playoffs.
I mean, Chauncey Billups is doing a really good job with these guys, turning this thing around.
Shout out Shaq.
But at the same time, it is they've had the players. This has been there the entire time. I think part of it is the coach and having the right coaching at the right time.
Yeah.
And we've talked about having those veterans there. This is what they lack. This is your longest tenured player can't be Killian Hayes or Isaiah Stewart, and that's your vet as well. You need other guys to take on some of this weight, and we're finally starting to see all of this stuff come together. You know that it's real when ESPN is adding them toward the end of the season for nationally televised games. That's when you know. And we always talk about how the national media portrays or views the Pistons. To add them into to take somebody else out and say, hey, we got to get the Pistons and Thunder back on for a nationally televised game. Thunder might be sitting some people, but that is a showcase game where even if they're not, the Pistons can still kind of show everybody who these players are and that they're a team on the rise. I'm not going to project it the same way, but this is where the Thunder were when they really got over that hump, when those stars started to be like, oh, wait a minute, Shai Gilgeous. I got to learn how to pronounce Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because this dude is the real deal. So now them getting Chet back and all of that, all of this is the critical mass. And guess where Shai is? MVP favorite at this point. That could be Cade in that same consideration in another year or two.
I like that. He does believe Cade will be in that MVP consideration. He could be, like how we saw SGA. And I remember when SGA started to kind of take that leap. Rod, we talked about this on the show as well a couple years, and it's cool to see kind of Cade stepping into that mold as well. What up, though, Flannel?
Absolutely. And I want to talk to you about potential playoff matchups because it looks like the Pistons are a mortal lot to finish no worse than the 6th seed. I know you and I have been mostly in agreement about the Milwaukee Bucks isn't the matchup that I personally would prefer, and you've mentioned it as well for yourself because Giannis is just, he's a different animal. He's still the best player in the East. He's a multiple-time MVP, Finals MVP, etc., etc., etc. But things changed a little bit. Damian Lillard.
No, they didn't.
Really? Damian Lillard. You really don't think Damian Lillard?
No, they didn't.
All right, fine. I think Damian Lillard being out's a big deal, or potentially out. Blood clots are serious. They're nothing to be effed with. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to slow play it, but I'm not saying that the Milwaukee Bucks are my ideal matchup. But well, you've already answered the question. It doesn't make a difference for you. Go ahead and elaborate. It's all good.
If you want to see Giannis score 70 points, let the Pistons play them in the playoffs. Giannis will try to score 70. Come on, man. No, I don't want to see Giannis in any way, shape, or form. With Dame, without Dame, with a hat, with a cat, with some fish, carrying a dish.
One fish, two fish.
Carrying a dish.
No, I don't want to see Giannis at all. No. Who's guarding Giannis? No, we don't have anybody. You want Tobias guarding Giannis for a series?
God, no.
See, y'all trying to get Tobias and Bears.
Do not recommend Hero Stars. Nope, not about that.
No, I get it. It's just that nobody's ever won a title by themselves. And his longtime running mate, Middleton, he's obviously wasn't what he once was. He's gone. Lillard might be gone. Probably going to get Bobby Portis back. Kuzma. This is not one of Giannis's best supporting cast if Lillard's out. That's all I'm saying. I get it. Giannis isn't a problem that I think I personally want as a Pistons fan, but he could give you 40 and 20 efficiently, and the Pistons could still beat him. I'll just say that.
Denzel Washington did not have a good supporting cast in training days. Giannis don't need a supporting cast. I don't even want to see it. I don't care. Nope, not for me.
Well, Ryan, I'm gonna try to be able to maybe, give you some grace on a thing that you said earlier. We've debated about Cade being all NBA. At first you were saying, of course, because of the writers and them just not knowing who the Pistons were, who Cade really was, and, him having to kind of take his lumps and go through the process, that they wouldn't elect him to be all NBA. Now, you have since come around and said that maybe there was a chance he can be second team all NBA. But now when you just look at where the Pistons are and where they seem to be headed, and just the play of Cade over this stretch, you saw what he did in that primetime ESPN game, the buzzer beater. Is there any chance that he can be all NBA first team?
You said I said that?
Yeah, I got it on the sticky note right here, actually. You said that you would be willing to say that he would be a second team all NBA player. Hey, we gonna address one of them other sticky notes too, because I gotta get an update on something. But
KG pulled the receipts, man.
All NBA.
Yeah.
Okay. It was like 2 weeks ago. You said that he could be second team.
I'm on the first team bandwagon now. Like, who else are you going to? He has shown the consistency of that is, I'm gonna give you 30. I'm gonna give you 35. I'm gonna give you a triple-double. I don't think anybody else rises to that level. Again, I think some of it may be dependent on whether they finish fourth or fifth or sixth. If it's fourth, I think he gets first team. If it's fifth or sixth, it's gonna be tough. I can't see anybody who's, from a logic standpoint, there's nobody better than him, but all of the other factors that I mentioned before, I think he ends up being second team unless they're the fourth seed. That's about the way that he would end up on the first team.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll just ask you a question as we're going to get prepared for our Swisher break. One question that's not on there, but I just want to ask you, Cade Cunningham, best point guard in the East? This is our layup line. We get warmed up. Yes. Flannel Sam. Yes. I know how you feel, but we still, man, we'll put the ball on the tee.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. And KG, how you feeling as we getting prepared to enter our Swisher break?
Bro, it's not even close. He's the best guard in the East. I don't want to hear nobody else's name. This is the Cade show right now.
And even though we knew the trajectory was there, is it surprising to anybody how quickly it's arrived? Like, just within this space of this year, seeing how crazy things were last year. Like, it's interesting to me that these young players were able to keep that mental fortitude throughout the entire process. And something tells me, like, I don't know why, Rod, but remember what they said about Dwayne Casey when he was a coach. I remember what they were saying about him when they were effectively saying, hey, he's stepping down from coach, but he's going to the front office. And they talked about, all the players talked about the things that Dwayne Casey was to them, more personable. And they kept him within the organization. And you look at the mental fortitude of these players throughout, Monty Williams' tenure. And I do sometimes wonder some of the roles that these people in the development staff were able to play to keep this young team intact and together mentally and make sure that they have what they need to move forward. Because with J.B. Bickerstaff and just the right mix of vets, it just seems like this thing is absolutely from 14 wins last year to now sitting at 41 wins, Rob Beard.
But what did we say that Cade needed? And I've banged the table on this. Cade needs a 40% three-point shooter with him to be his most effective. He needs another big scorer. He needs a pick-and-roll threat who's a rim runner and a dominant post presence. Jaylen Duren averaging a double-double?
Listen.
I mean, maybe.
Listen, but maybe. if you look at his play over the last 2 weeks, and I say he is the number 2 right now on this Pistons team. Ivy's not around right now. I'm just saying. But when you look at his play, though, you don't think there's any argument at all that Jaylen Duren, as of right now, is the number 2 option on this team currently. I mean, not technically. You do look to get Malik Beasley involved, but I'm just mean like in terms of everything that he does on the floor. If he goes out there and has an off night, you probably lose. You can survive a Malik Beasley bad shooting night, but if Duren doesn't give you what he's giving you lately, then the Pistons most likely lose that game.
What I'll level with you is I still have Beasley personally as that 2, but what we see Jaylen Duren doing right now and having the space to even develop, because he wasn't on point the full season, and the Pistons still, after that 0-4 start, were still one of the better teams. We saw them climb up the ranks, 10th seed, 9th seed, 8th seed, while he was still figuring things out. Then when he did figure things out, we saw it help to ignite. And I liken it to the Andre Drummond years, where do you have a player that you can put, you can expect him to go out there and put up stats that can make him look like a 2 or 3. But in reality, if you have a good 2 or 3, then Jaylen Duren becomes this absolute kind of gasoline on a fire. That's what I think we're seeing right now. So it's like if you have your number 2 scoring option, I still believe in terms of impact is where I kind of lean more towards what you're saying.
Yeah, that's more impact. So what I mean, because clearly he's not a number 2 scoring option.
Defensively, offensively, he's facilitating. And I like what Jaylen Duren is bringing to the table, obviously. And it all stemmed from him saying people around him, and including his own assessment, he realized he was playing soft.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Drummond wasn't this. Drummond couldn't put the ball on the floor. Drummond wasn't playing the type of defense that, not for real. I mean, not for real,
back
bro.
And look at Drummond's stats, man.
I'm just saying.
I think Jalen is a better prospect overall, but I can't, man. Drummond reached All-NBA and All-Star status.
I realize that. But it's mostly because of rebounds.
The way people talk about Drummond, you think he averaged 5 and 5.
Stocks. He was one of your best bigs in the league with stocks, and he was one of the only bigs in the top 10 overall in the NBA in steals. And a lot of people let that go. When you look at his defensive rating and efficiency, if you like the numbers, Andre Drummond was, in my opinion, he was just underrated. But I do believe Jaylen Duren as a player,
he can be better.
He's overall offensively is where he has, to me, the ability to really, really bypass who an Andre Drummond was here, because he just has that feel. And if he adds what you were talking about, that McDice, that 16-footer, that pick and pop, I think the sky's the limit for a Jaylen Duren. Absolutely.
And I think it's fair to say too that at this age, Duren is 20, and when Drummond is 20, Duren is a little bit more polished in where he is. Drummond didn't really figure it out until a few years into his NBA career, and it seems like pairing with Cade now, Duren is going to.
It was a long time, man, and they didn't know what they wanted to do with Andre Drummond. And we talk about the health of the organization right now. that a guy like a Jaylen Duren was able to enter into. A guy like a Ron Holland, or like Rod, can you imagine if Ron Holland was drafted 3 or 4 years ago? But you see these players now in this situation underneath the JB Bickerstaff in a much better, I think, working for them as it relates to development situation. And we're seeing these players coming along at their pace. We see them improving in ways that we were hoping. I see life. I have hope that Asar Thompson and Ron Holland, will be serviceable 3-point shooters in this league. And we see them make small and incremental jumps. We see them working on it and practicing on it. And the organization, what did they do? Before they even hired the head coach, Trajan Langdon said, hey, Fred Vincent, I need you up here. And so that's the attention and detail that this organization is paying right now that is going to put these players in a much better position than prior ones. We think about this, right? Budget Duren and budget Asar and budget Ron Holland would be, right, Andre Drummond and Stanley Johnson.
Yeah.
And those guys, they came with all the tools in the bag. But for some reason, the organization just could not figure out a way to get them over the hump. And the one thing that you don't question with any of these current players is their motor. And that's one thing, no matter what you feel about Andre Drummond or not, or any of these other players, it was their motor, their will to assess, their will to say, you know what, I got to get better. Because that's what we heard Duren step to the table and say.
Yeah.
And I do believe that that's a lot of what's kind of underpinning the success for these young guys and why they're going to be approached. I think Jaylen Duren and Asar Thompson are going to approach stardom.
Yeah, and he turned into a whole different player after he said that. Just imagine if Drummond were able to tell you, hey, I'm not playing up to my offensive capabilities, and then he turned into what Jaylen Duren is doing right now.
It took him too long to admit that.
Yeah,
it took him well after his Pistons years to admit that, and that's just – it's too late. But they didn't – I don't think they had the right structure. I know, Rod, you were covering some of those teams, and just, what do you see in terms of the difference in structure today versus during that era where I think they had some good prospects. They didn't make all the right picks, but I don't know how much they were actually helped.
Yeah, it was circumstantial with them because the Reggie Jackson injury sort of ate away at a year and a half of that team.
That's right.
Forgot about that.
You had Blake, and his All-NBA season was with Dre. I mean, you actually had Reggie, D. Rose, Blake, and Dre for kind of part of it. Just injuries and circumstances and everything else just didn't make that work out the way that it could have. And they were going for it. That is the Stan Van Gundy into the Dwayne Casey era. They were going for it, and they were around a 500 team, which this team is now. But they had all-stars and a bloated cap that they just couldn't add very much more because you were still dealing with Tobias was here before that, but then left with the Blake thing. Mm-hmm. You just had players that didn't really fit that you had to overpay for because you were trying to make a run. That's Langston Galloway. That is
oh God.
Langston Galloway.
And LG was a 40% shooter, but then you went and got John Lure, and maybe you overpaid a little bit for John Lure because you thought you were right there and you needed a flex perimeter floor. So that was one construction of it that just didn't turn out the way that they wanted. And when you committed to all of those contracts, you were locked into that. When you look at the cap sheet now, it's so much cleaner. They're not locked into anybody except for Cade. Really long term like that, you're going to pay Duren, you're going to pay all of your young guys. Stewart's on a very manageable deal. So the cap sheet looks a whole lot different. But when they went and got Blake, they pushed all of the chips they had into the middle of the table to say this has to work with Blake. Wonderful year for him, all NBA year.
Yeah.
But it can happen still. You can get an all NBA guy without flexing your cap that way.
Dang. You know what? Let's get into a couple of these Swish or break.
Yeah, you got some fire, man.
Hey, Swish or brick, Swish or break. Let's get that graphic going. Now it's officially time.
Oh, yes.
I see Fenn over there. He's stretching. He's getting warmed up right now. He's getting ready.
Worried about some of these questions. Some of them really stumped me, but we'll see.
Yeah, no.
Let's go, KG.
Yeah, no. This all Kool-Aid this weekend. He got some fire in here, so we will start with this one. JB Bickerstaff is the Pistons' best coach since Larry Brown. Swish or brick?
And I know it's a short.
Yeah, Kool-Aid try to get like your boy. I like to make y'all think. I like to make y'all put them thinking caps on.
Hey, you guys already know, man. Hey, listen, if you got a good team around you, hey, support them, pick up the best from them, and do work. That's what I see out of these Pistons right now. And JB Bickerstaff has instilled that in this squad, much in the same manner that you saw Larry Brown kind of curate the last portion of what you need out of those Pistons. But since then, we've had some decent coaches, but it has been a graveyard ride beer from Custer to Mo Cheeks.
We've had one decent coach, and it was Stan Van Gundy. That was it. But I'm not rocking. But you,
What up?
I was just saying, speaking of graveyard, R.I.P. Flip Saunders.
Oh, damn.
Speaking of graveyard,
The transition was crazy. That's all I'm saying.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. for sure.
But listen, JB Bickerstaff, we know what he's done with the team currently that's sitting up atop these Eastern Conference standings with the Cavaliers. And he had a lot to do with that, turning them from afterthought into a powerhouse in the East. And now it looks like he's done the same with the Pistons. Is he their best coach since Larry Brown, Flannel Sam? I see you over there breathing,
This is a
bro.
layup, bro.
Brick, I still got to go Flip Saunders. I still got to go Flip Saunders. Just
R.I.P.
He inherited a championship team.
okay, but everybody here, I don't want to get into it too much because we all know how I feel about Ben Wallace, but two of those teams that Flip Saunders took to the conference finals, Ben Wallace was gone. If JB Bickerstaff...
That's a huge...
I hear you.
That is
He did have a
that
higher
is
winning
big
percentage
point.
than Larry Brown.
Huh?
He did. Flip Saunders
But
does
he
have a higher
didn't get
winning
it
percentage
done.
than Larry Brown.
He didn't get it done.
Okay, fine, but...
Flip is the only contender, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
like
that's
it.
Of course, and
R.I.P.
JB Bickerstaff, if they win a playoff series this year, I'll full on be like JB. And I love what JB Bickerstaff has done, but right now, I still got to go with Flip Saunders. People treat him like he was just a slightly better Monty. He was a damn good coach. He just wasn't Larry Brown.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Just gotta keep saying it.
Keep saying R.I.P.
JB Smooth.
R.I.P. Flip Saunders, but I'm gonna be real. There's no need to waste too much time on this. JB Bickersmooth, you've been my guy since day one. Yes, you are the best coach the Pistons have had since Larry Brown. That's it. Just enough said.
Cavassier Chase.
I already said my coach. It's Flip Saunders. I had to honor the respect the dead.
Willie B. Will B with the thing.
Oh my god.
AD. What up, though?
Nah, and like to me, this is a layup, man. And the only Flip Saunders is an argument, but overall, just considering what he inherited and what ended up happening, it is what it is, man. But he would be probably the closest argument. Other arguments you can make is SVG and Dwayne Casey, but overall, yes, JB Bickerstaff is absolutely the best coach since Larry Brown, at least to me.
Hey, and you know what, Rod Beard? Before we go to you, let me see here what's in this chat. I see Matthew Kruger. He put airball. Polo Boy says big brick. Let me see here. Hey, Polo Boy also says Ben was the man. AC says he doesn't think it was Flip. And Wheezy D, what was Mo Cheeks' middle name now? I don't even understand what that was.
Right.
I don't even want to step into that one.
Yeah,
but Rod
let's leave
Beard,
that one alone.
What say you?
Shout out Mo Cheeks, man.
John Lawyer has entered the chat.
John Lawyer.
It's Edwards, Maurice Edwards.
Oh my god, it was some disaster coaches. Custer, like, oh my god, it was bad.
John Lawyer.
Yeah,
You pulled a name.
I think it's Flip because even if you inherit a team, you still have to do something with it. And Nick Nurse inherited a team. Big facts on that. But the consistency to maintain that with that team, it's hard to take a good team and to make them better and to continue going to the conference finals. I'll say Flip.
Hey, Flip for Rod. And you know what? That was a good one, man. That was a good one, and it was dope pulling Flip Saunders as well because that's the one in contention. But it really puts in contrast just how John Lawyer. Really puts in contrast just how good JB Bickerstaff is already. So, hey, let's get to that next
But
one.
I keep getting told in the chat that Flip Saunders was basically slightly better than John Custer and Monty Williams.
Yeah,
Flip Saunders was that deal.
Yeah,
Look at the chat. People act like he was awful.
And you're right, to win without
They
Ben
need
Wallace
to take a
was
chill
tough.
pill too. We already decided they need a chill pill and a seat in the corner.
It's Swisher break, people.
Right.
Partake.
Hey,
That's what I know.
listen, I like this. I'm partaking right after this show. Y'all stressing me out of here. Ron Holland should, all caps, should make all-rookie or an NBA all-rookie team? Swish or brick?
Hey, listen, man. They better quit playing my dog, Ron Holland. You guys see exactly what he's doing right now. Flannel Sam has been consistent with making sure you guys understand his per 36 numbers, and you see the effects right now. He gets a little bit more time. He goes out there and he blows really those per 36 minutes away. But shout out to Ron Holland, who's done it on both ends of the court, and his coaches and his teammates have credited him and attributed a lot of their burst of energy, especially off the bench, their hustle, their motor, the fact that he just goes out there and creates his own offense by getting the rebound or the deflection or the steal in transition and taking it the length of the court. And you look at this draft class and how things are shaking out. I do agree with Zachary Sachet at the top of this thing. Modest but zealous is very impressive to me. But what Ron Holland has done, they can't make the mistake again. Snubbed him, in my opinion, from Rising Stars, but I get it. The impact had to be a little bit more at that point in time. But right now, I believe it is on full display. Got to go with you, Flannel Sam. It's going to be tough.
It is going to be tough because he definitely, I would say, should. Because when you look at, I just pulled up the odds right now. One way in which I've distinguished Ron Holland is he plays his role in a great way that helps the Pistons win. He's one of those good team rookies. And when you look at the good team rookies, you can point to Jalen Wells and Zach Edey of the Grizzlies. You can even point to Dalton Connect on the Lakers. I think that Ron Holland would be about the last member of the all-rookie second team, but he should make it. It might be by the skin of his teeth, but I think he should make it.
Hey, what up, though, JB Smooth?
I think this one's an easy layup for me, man. This is an easy swish. I think I was in a camp with Kool-Aid, with Flannel as well back when it was draft day. I wasn't exactly sold on Ron Holland, but as of right now, to this day, I changed my opinion. I am completely sold on this man. The man has potential, and he's making his own way in the Detroit Pistons locker room and on this team. So this is an easy layup for me.
Hey, what up, though, Kavasi and Chase?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it's a swish. I think basketball is probably I pay like the least attention to as far as like when it comes to like the draft and stuff like that. So you know, like I kind of just ride your guys' coattails a little bit with that. What's Will say?
Yeah. Willie is crazy.
Yeah, no, basketball's not my favorite sport, so I don't pay as much attention to it. But yeah, I mean, I always am someone who falls for the potential of all the draft picks.
See what y'all started. First sticky notes, and now we got drawing.
Right. The whiteboard is next. Nah, man.
I see Rod over there deliberating. What up, though, KG?
Nah, this is a swish because there is two all-rookie teams, and first team is debatable just because the media narratives around the Pistons, they haven't necessarily caught up yet, so Ryan might not make first team as opposed to, you know, like a Stephon Castle or somebody, but second team should be a layup. And when you think back to Isaiah Stewart, he was an all-rookie second team player, pretty much doing what Ron Holland, like you said, a good team rookie, pretty much doing what Ron Holland is giving or doing for the Pistons right now. So that's a switch for me. He should make second team.
Definitely. Rod Beard, what say you? See some swishes in the chat? See some support for one Ron Holland? I see you. Crush the dreams, Rod Beard.
Look at him.
This is a wedgie. This isn't even a brick. This is a wedgie.
Here you go.
He called it a wedgie.
You said the same thing about Cade. Then you 2 weeks later, he could be second team.
I feel good about this one. If you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. So you got to put this on hold.
You know what? You're right. You got me on that one.
This is a wedgie because who votes on all rookie teams? The media.
Yeah.
How many media are paying attention to this rookie class at all? They're going to struggle with the first team.
No, that's
with the second
real.
team. They might go in alphabetical order of just. Tell me some
He's gonna go alphabetical.
Ronnie James, bam, there you go.
Hey, ChatGPT, tell me 5 other rookies in this class, and they're just gonna put them in there. That's how the second team is gonna go. This is a wedgie all the way.
You know what? He's right on that.
Yeah.
Ron Holland, make some noise, man. You got 9 games left. They flexing y'all. You guys got a chance to knock off the Bucks twice. Make some noise out there. Let's do one more,
all right,
and we'll wrap up.
This weak-ass rookie class.
Yeah, we're going to continue to check in. 9 games left. They have an opportunity, all of them. JB Bickerstaff for Coach of the Year. Cade Cunningham, Most Improved, which I still think is weird. And Malik Beasley for 6th Man of the Year. I see you over there, Flannel Sam. What are you deliberating?
You know how I feel about this.
I do.
Coach JB Bickerstaff, I think he should be coach of the year. I think as of right now, even though he's cooled off a tad, I would still put Malik Beasley as the sixth man of the year. Most improved player, I think, it should not be Cade Cunningham because I think he was already here to some extent last year. That's what I've always said. I think it should be Norman Powell, somebody who actually had a prodigious improvement. And don't get me wrong, Cade has improved some of the the nuances of his game, but to give him most improved player will imply that he didn't arrive until this year. And that narrative is something that makes my skin crawl. So I want JB coach of the year, Beasley as a sixth man,
Sam,
and Norman Powell as most improved player.
Hey, what up, though, JB Smooth?
This is a brick for me. I think you'll get 2 out of the 3. As Flannel said, JB coach of the year, and Malik Beasley sixth man. That's about it.
Kavasi Chase, they sweeping the awards?
I mean, I'd like them to, but I don't think they will. So
Yeah. Hey,
Pretty simple.
Will. If y'all can see his face too, dog, his emotions, man. Hey, KG, what up, though, brother?
And y'all know how I feel about this. I'm going to go Swish, but Sam, I do agree with you. I really do. But I just think that most improved award that to me is the NBA giving they respect finally. They finally coming around and realizing like, okay, Cade is the man. Like like you said, he's been the man to a certain degree, but I just want him to actually have an award that's solely his, that the NBA recognizes as, okay, he's one of those guys. He's on the come up. He's a future star in this league, or future superstar, should I say. But, I think 2 out of the 3 awards are a lock. Most improved is a lock for Cade. Coach of the year is a lock for JB Bickerstaff. It's just the Malik Beasley. Does he get sixth man of the year? I think it's a good chance if you just break down his whole entire body of work and just how he's impacted this Pistons team to this point. I think it's very hard to argue that he's not sixth man of the year.
One caveat that I want to give is I don't think Norman Powell will be eligible for postseason awards because he's only played 50 games. He's not listed on any odds, but I'll give you another name, Dyson Daniels. I'll give you Dyson Daniels.
He's been tough. I've tried to,
just give
razz
Cade
on
the
him
award,
because
bro.
the Hawks fans tried to say he was a Cade stopper.
Oh, he's not, but
and
he's really
absolutely
good.
not.
Yeah.
And when I said he ain't no Cade stopper, the Hawks fans tried to get at me, and this was when at the time they were a little bit ahead of us. I haven't heard from them since then.
Yeah.
Shout out Dyson Daniels. So I actually do kind of agree with that. He's one of those players in the league, like how I used to feel about Triple J with the Grizzlies. Dyson Daniels is one of those. Just get him in a Detroit Pistons uniform.
Oh.
He just freaking fits, man.
I'm big fan of his game.
They're not going to.
Big fan of his
They're
game.
not letting him go.
No.
Nor
should they.
Right. They be smart tonight.
What say ye, Rod Beard?
Let me introduce you guys to Boston Bias, who will make Peyton Pritchard the sixth man of the year. And so there's no way it's a trifecta. And KG, if you understand how 3-leg parlays work, you can't say 2 of these are a lock and the other one it might not happen. If it's a 3-leg parlay, all 3 of them have to happen.
No, you're right. You're right.
So, I mean, we can look at one of these sports books and see what the odds are on the 3-leg, and you can do the whole thing. I got 5 on that. We in Swisher break. I got 5 on the parlay if y'all gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it. But, I mean, Peyton Pritchard is on a championship team, a very loaded championship team. And I do understand, but to me, the body of work just screams Malik Beasley, and the impact he's had on this Pistons team should give him the sixth man of the year, because that's the most debatable award out of the 3. But I do get what you're saying. The national media, we already know they not really paying attention to Pistons basketball. I don't think that's right, though. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's right.
But it is the factor. And that's one of the things, like, kind of going through this media journey, and I know there's several of us. We had a powwow over All-Star break, man. Mike Curtis, Cody Davis, myself, and even others, man, who've had the run-in with you or worked with you or worked alongside you at some of these other events. And we just talked about just how prepared we felt for that moment because a lot of the things that you had already discussed. And it was also cool to know that there were certain questions we knew to ask that other people in media there didn't about Cade Cunningham and these Pistons. And it's because of a lot of the preparation and work you've kind of set us into a certain path. And among other people, we got the legend Terry Foster over here too, who's helped a lot of us in that same lane. So thank you, Rod Beard. Now, like I always tell people, when we do the drum roll, I've promised to make that as consistent as I can to be able to honor who you are and who you've been to the platform. And it's been a Swisher break.
Oh, it was fun.
I appreciate that. I got a new one. I got a new one.
Hey, Ryan, I'm holding you responsible for that. You part of the media, bro. You supposed to be in there fighting our battles for us.
I don't vote anymore. I don't vote.
I don't vote
so
anymore.
I think Omari
Sankofa, yeah, shout out.
By far, man, and it's been an awesome time. Also, again, shout out to Big Sean. I know it was his birthday yesterday. The Pistons showed out for him last night. They even honored his mom too. So shout out to the Pistons, and not just that. There's sometimes when you see stuff like this and the crowd's a little sparse. Rod, the crowd was honestly at full attention and at full decibels, making sure to shower love on one of Detroit's own and Big Sean. And I think it's a testament to, honestly, where we are right now, as well as the vibes that the Pistons are giving the city. It's an awesome time right now to be a Pistons fan.
No, I think it's going to be, when they make the playoffs and they have a home game, if the weather cooperates, and they have a watch party or something in that plaza outside of
Chevy
LCA.
Plaza.
They've never been able to use that. Never. If the weather cooperates, that is going to be a tremendous vibe outside. So that's what I'm waiting to see. I don't care who the opponent is. I mean, as long as it's not Milwaukee, man. I am not for Giannis feeling like he got to carry the entire thing and everybody on his back. I do not like 0 stars. Do not recommend. No.
Kind of want Broadway Cade, and as we've seen the way that this end of season has kind of shaken out, you can have your couple MVP candidates, but I feel like Cade has moved ahead a couple of those guys in New York.
Yeah.
I just do. And that's to a testament of the type of impact he can have on the game as an individual player, but he uses all of that to better set up his team. So it's going to be interesting into the season. This was a fire segment, and it was dope to have Rod Beard on for both segments, answer a lot of questions, brought the heat as he always does, and the camaraderie was on one. And Rod, they want you in studio for a show.
Oh, Rod, don't mess with us like that.
Let's make it happen.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, Rod, don't work. He don't rock with us like that.
No, we're gonna make it happen. We'll do, and we'll reprise pizza. I remember we had our initial meeting here over pizza. We'll definitely make sure you take care of it.
I do remember that.
It was
right.
epic,
Shout
man.
out, buddies, man. We gonna take care of you. Hey, bring the sticky notes with you.
That's gonna be dog. We got an epic day planned.
Bring them with you. Take them on the road.
Shout out to the legend.
I got you.
Thank you, Rod Beard, Detroit News sports editor-in-chief. Overall, good person, great professional. Thank you, Rod Beard, for your time.
Thank you, Rod.
All right.
Thank you, Rod.
Have a good week, guys.
Hey, let's have a good weekend. You know what? I know we got to catch up on some sponsors and our friends. JB, what do you want us to do here as we take a quick break?
Lady Jane's and Dr. Pierce.
Oh, Lady Jane's, one of my favorites. You guys already know that, because at Lady Jane's, they take the chore out of getting a haircut. Our time